So there are a few schools of thought on how to go into a new church assignment. Some people would say that you should not touch anything for 90 days. Other people say that it should be 100 days, no touching anything from the church. Some people would actually go on and say that it's at least a year. Don't touch anything for a year. And then there are others who would argue that the best way to mold cement is when it's still fresh. Because of my temperament and because of what I believe that the Spirit was doing in our new assignment, I chose the latter. I chose to come in and join this new congregation, this legacy church in the heart of LA, the White Memorial Church, the Ellen White Memorial Church. A church with trajectory, a church in the heart of a city, a church that seats about 2,000 people. And a small congregation was meeting there. We knew that as we came in and we tried to enact some changes, we knew that it would only be possible in the wings of prayer. We knew that it would have to be a praying church. So we made it a point to establish a midweek prayer service every Tuesday night that we call Abide, where we gather and we sit and we linger and we press in to the presence of God. As we got ready for 2025, as our colleagues, our staff got together for this new year, we knew that we needed to start this year with a week of prayer. We knew it would have to be in the wings of prayer that we would establish our ministry and our leadership this year. So we said the first week of the year, we're going to have a week of prayer together. So we rallied the troops, we got our staff together, we got our leadership together, we invited the members, and we started the first Sunday of the year in prayer. Monday night came in prayer. We had already established that this week of prayer would be how we would launch our focus for the year, our theme for the year being more Jesus. So it was more Jesus on Sunday, more Jesus on Monday, more Jesus on Tuesday. And in the middle of our prayer night on Tuesday evening, something began to shift. We realized that the Santa Ana winds were picking up a little bit more than we're used to, a little bit more than what's usual. And in the middle of our prayer night, we suffered the first blackout. We turned the power back on, and about 20 minutes later, there was another one. 3 blackouts in one night. We knew something was shifting in the city that night. That morning, we woke up. And we woke up to the images that I'm sure many of you have seen already. The city that we love, the city that we minister in, the city that we serve, the city that is our mission field, our home, was on fire. When we woke up, we realized that there was already evacuation notices all over the city. And some of our own members were being evacuated. So I love the fact that 2 of our members, the moment they were evacuated, they knew they needed to run to church. They knew that they were going to find a safe place there. So we got together with some of our leaders. We started texting, hey, we are opening up our church to be a shelter for anyone who is under evacuation orders. We didn't have a plan. We didn't have a system. We had a venue, and we opened its doors. As the day unfolded, we realized that our church was coming together, pressing together. Leaders were just emerging. Members were ready to serve. And we got this little table together. We were so proud of our little table. It was a little cart of water and some snacks, and some people brought pork ham, and we didn't care. I mean, it was just people started donating stuff, and we're like, okay. We were so proud of our little table. We rallied around it that night during our prayer meeting because we kept prayer meeting going. We rallied around and we prayed, God, use us and amaze us. That's a dangerous prayer. Use us and amaze us. Listen, y'all, let me be very candid with you. I wasn't comfortable being here today. I told you, Jose. This was so personal for our city. There's tears and stories and pain and heartbreak. People lost their homes. So many stories. It almost felt uncomfortable for us to just come in, and I'm saying us because my good friend and associate is here, to come up here and be like, hey, this is what we did in LA. So much heartbreak, so many tears, so much fear, and spiritual warfare. Because in the middle of our effort, my associate pastor and I, who's a God-fearing, Jesus-loving man, we literally had to exorcise a demon in the middle of our parking lot. Something shifted in the city in January. But let me tell you why I'm here and why I dare to fly to sunny, warm I sat in my office last month in the middle of our effort with one of the city representatives, one of the city council representatives, a local district guy, a community guy. And he sat there with me and he could not believe. I invited him to come and he was hesitant to come to the White Memorial. He wasn't sure why to come. I said, I need you to come and see what's happening here. And he sat there in my office after we walked our grounds and we walked around our campus, and he told me, Manny, I'm going to be very honest with you. The community, Boyle Heights, all the NGOs, all the organizations, all the activist groups, the community knows that we cannot count on the White Memorial Church. We know you're here. We see you with your suits every Sabbath. We see you with your high heels and your big Bibles under your arm, but we know that even though you're here, you're not part of us. You're all about you. That's why I'm here. Because we can't possibly be the only ones. It reminds me of an experience I had in a place that I will not disclose with an organization I will not name. But it's one of our entities. I was in another country and we did a week of ministry there. And the crowning day, like the final day, we were gonna have a big carnival for the kids all over the community. And we passed out flyers and we went door to door. We were expecting about 1,800, 2,000 kids to come into our compound, red flag, and have a celebration with them. The moment came, the day came when the carnival was supposed to happen. We opened the doors of the compound and the whole community peeked in, but did not want to come in. We were pretty much dragging them in. Come on, look at the balloons and look at the food and look at the music. And this is what they said. Why would we want to go into a prison? Our compound in the middle of that neighborhood always kept its doors closed. And the community assumed it was a prison, even though we Our denomination, our beloved Adventist church, was literally right there in the heart of that community. That's what moved me to be here. Because we can't possibly be the only church who is in a city, who is in a neighborhood, and the community knows we are not there for them because our doors are closed to them. So Guillermo sat in front of me and said, I can't believe you opened your doors. I can't believe you opened your doors. And church, friends, we open our doors. And God did something with that little table that went beyond anything we could ever imagine. We prayed, use us and amaze us. Use us and amaze us. Use us and amaze us. And donations started coming. TikTok did its thing. Instagram did its thing. Facebook did its thing. Abuelitas did their thing. I mean, everyone was doing their thing. And God used us and amazed us. And it was the most beautiful thing to see our church, our volunteers. God bless these volunteers. The Mirnas and the Ashtons and the Amandas and the Adrianas and all these people who just pressed together and they gave of their time. The system we developed as we went, because we didn't have anything in place, we started collecting goods, collecting donations. We would assemble orders. People would place their order online. We would have volunteers there assembling their orders, and we would have some drivers taking them to the different locations. I mean, it was a system that we had never even worked with, but God amazed us and God used us. The Chamber of Commerce showed up donating stuff. The Red Cross showed up donating stuff. We had clothing companies come in and donate stuff. We even had Buddhist monks show up and hang out with us. We had a rapper swing by and donate his time. We even had Freemasons at the Ellen White Memorial Church. Yeah, that one's gonna get me on a blog somewhere. God used us and amazed us. And it's still happening as we speak, 2 months in. We are in the basin of these two fires. We were not in the Palisades. We were not in Altadena. We were in the middle of these two territories. So the population that we got to serve were not necessarily the residents of the Palisades or the residents of Altadena. It was their housekeepers. It was their landscapers who no longer had a job to go to. It was their nannies who no longer had a house to go and take care of kids in. We realized something. As we were serving our community, we were serving people who may not have all lost their home, but they had lost their jobs. And we kept our prayer meeting going for 2 weeks straight. And what we realized is that much like in that story of the baskets with the fish and the bread, as long as there was a need, donations kept coming in. That distribution center filled up about 3.5 times, serving about 1,200 people in total for God's glory. So the fires eventually subsided. The fire started being controlled. But a new fire started in our community. That's not where I'm going. You said amen too early. It's a fire of fear, of uncertainty, where children are now anxious, wondering if their mom and dad will be home when they come back from school. A fire of anxiety under the new policies that are impacting our city. And we realized that God had already given us a system. God had already given us a platform. God had already placed us on their radar. And those same housekeepers, those same landscapers, those same nannies, those same cooks, those same busboys and waiters who are in fear today, God has given us a platform to serve them as well. Let me tell you something. The White Memorial Church is open for business. We are open to be servants and allies in that community through fire or ice. I end with this. One of the days that we were hanging out there at the distribution center, I'm looking at my daughter, 14-year-old daughter, and she's perusing. They call it Costco. They're walking around the Costco of our church. And I see her sitting with one of her friends. And I see that there's tears in both of their eyes. And I lean in and I'm like, baby, what's going on? ¿Qué pasa? She's like, Dad, I just cannot believe this is our church. It is my hope and prayer that your children, your grandchildren, can say the same about yours. Amen.